All right, so again, we'll get off this one. Candace did some interesting investigation.
Okay.
We'll play a part of it. I won't got to play. It's like 9 minutes.
Really quick. Yeah, let me ask this question before because have you been seeing the like slight change in Candace Owens content?
So there was a interesting, because she's on Ben Shapiro's channel, like they work together, and there has been a big conflict between the two of them because he's Jewish.
Question.
He's Jewish, and she's been very spoken against the Israel state.
She has been, so she's kind of done a switch up from what I thought she was gonna do. So I was gonna ask you, do you think that Candace and Ben are still in the same basket?
No, there's conflict. They've been openly conflicting with each other.
Okay.
She's still on the channel for whatever contract and whatever she got going on must be razor cut thin.
You think like their rhetoric and content still falls in the same box though?
I think they both would say that they're right leaning, but I think in the right leaning box they are fighting. Like Ben has always been kind of fighting for his life because he's a Jew in that environment. It's kind of like being a black guy in that environment. They're going to shoot at that standpoint, and he has to hope that a national Christian, what is it, a Christian nationalist. He has to hope that you're one of those people who want support the Jewish I would say empire, but the Jewish state.
Yeah.
In that way, but she just hasn't been a part. She hasn't been a part of that, and I think this is kind of interesting because it kind of bleeds into this. So we'll play a little bit of it. It's like a 9-minute clip that you guys can check out.
We covered this. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch. I believe it was Monday's episode. But yes, the Diddy lawsuit is absolutely crazy. Full stop. What if I told you guys that it is about to get even crazier, that there is directly a link to Michael Jackson's death? I want to be clear that when everything was going on with Michael Jackson, the lawsuits, his death, I thought that we were in full conspiracy theory territory when people were saying that Michael Jackson was killed. I actually know a lot of people that are in the industry who believe that Michael Jackson was killed, and I just thought it just sounds too whacked out to believe that somebody intentionally killed Michael Jackson. Of course, why would they do that? And also, I was believing the media. The media was extensively saying every single day that he was a pedophile, even though he factually won his case. I allowed my image of Michael Jackson certainly to be corroded by the media throughout that time period. I will fully confess that. Now, I want to remind you, before we get back into Michael Jackson, what we learned in the Diddy document, just to very quickly recap. Well, if you read...
So, it's a 9-minute long video. She goes on to talk about how we learned from the Diddy docs. She calls them the Diddy docs, which I'm going to call them from now on.
That is... I hate that she do some fly shit like that, yo.
Like she Diddy docs. That's a little bop. But so she goes on to explain that in these documents, we learn that Diddy has basically had an enterprise of like blackmail within the hip hop community that was basically equivalent to like Epstein's.
Mm-hmm. Which another person has said that as well. Ian.
Yeah. So which was like equivalent to Epstein's system, but it was for like the black people in the hip hop community specifically. She talks about how they did the same thing as far as getting you to be recorded doing lewd acts with minors and then using that as blackmail against you. She talks about how this Diddy is like working for like a bigger name and that they are not afraid to unalive people. She talks about Diddy and his son and that case of them unaliving somebody and the LAPD covering it up. She talks about how the LAPD, the police in general in Miami and LA are like in Diddy's pockets with this. And she talks about this man named Mr. Muhammad, who is basically like a fixer. Whenever something like if you get pulled over by the police, call this guy, he got it done, right? And then so Mr. Muhammad is a fixer, but he was also at the scene of Michael Jackson's death, which is what she was talking about. She tied it back in. This is the same guy who works for Diddy as his fixer. He was Michael Jackson's head of security at 21 years old, right after he graduated from college with a business and real estate degree. So the question in the video was, how does this man who is 21, fresh out of college, become the world's biggest pop star's head of security, not just part of his security team. He was his head of security. So it was
And
just
he didn't go to school for that.
He didn't. No, he got a business
in real estate.
and his concentration or like minors in real estate.
Yeah, that
Has
has nothing to do
with
with security.
Not even a little bit. So that's what the rest of the video is about. And she's just like, everything is alleged. None of this is concrete. The person who says that this is an entire enterprise of blackmail does have video and photographic evidence proving this, but it has not been let out in courts or made public yet. So this is all still very alleged.
So for her to be thinking about backing out of this and
she doesn't want to cover it.
That's crazy. We talking about Miss Messy McGee, and she don't want to cover it no more. I feel you. That feels a little compromising.
Do you think?
And Clyde Davis is the person I think you were referring to with Diddy, his overseer, kind of Clyde Davis.
Oh, did I say he had a? Oh, so
you said he was working for somebody above him.
Yeah, but I don't think it's one person.
Well, I'm saying, Clyde Davis was always the person. He was the person who put Diddy on, and he's a Jewish exec in the music industry as well, and he's had a lot of ties with a lot of stuff. I think he also worked with like Whitney Houston and stuff like that.
Okay, she made it. I don't know if he is part of this. He might be allegedly. This is all alleged, but there's a bigger enterprise that Diddy is working for to like collect all this blackmail and this and that for.
Well, there was the other person who kind of connected Clyde Davis to a lot of other things too. So I mean, it is a nasty operation. It's crazy how these folks can just exist until somebody's tired of you existing, and then we pop this shit off on your ass.
Yeah,
because that's all it is.
And then I really think that Cassie was the first domino.
Yeah, it's gonna be more. I think we're gonna probably hear about stuff from Jay-Z soon. It's gonna come out. A lot of these New York legends.
I'm telling the hip hop community as we know it is going to start crumbling, and all of these Hopetep niggas are gonna be like, oh, they trying to take down the black man and this and that. But no, like rich men are disgusting, and regardless of their race, black, white, Hispanic, fucking whatever. And
these men were probably folks who were destroying other black men with either not allowing, you know what I'm saying, with allegations or with saying, hey, if you won't do this, you can't be part of this. So
what would Hollywood, the music industry, everything look like if it was not off connections and what you're willing to do, and like how you're willing to degrade yourself if it wasn't that, and if it was just like talented people? Yeah. Because now, like, we're increasingly knowing that, like, the people that we're seeing are just the people who had the most opportunity, had the most connections, or did the nastiest shit, or was the most willing to do the nasty shit. So it's like, could we have gotten better music and content, and were there more talented people out there who just said no to the bullshit and didn't get the opportunity? That pisses me off as someone who loves music and movies and everything. No, we were robbed. Also, that sucks that like obviously, like everyone who went through this should not have gone through this. If you were a victim of any sexual abuse, any coercion of that nature. Oh, for sure. 100%. But me being selfish, I'm like, you shouldn't have been here in the first place. Who are the talented people that should have been here? How did you get here? Bitch, I sucked a dick. Nobody's supposed to be here. That's crazy. Niggas was doing the bit.